Hi everyone, and welcome back to a new hands-on video by Mio Lessons. Today we are in the coast of Wales in Penrhyn Castle. You can see the sea behind us. And we are at one of the Panasonic events that Panasonic is holding in all the national trust sites. And we have a hands-on or the brand new Panasonic GX8. Actually, we pre-ordered the camera for our own personal use and it should arrive somehow next week. But in the meantime, we can have a look at this camera. It's a pre-production model, but we got a good idea about its performance, the new sensor, the new stabilization mode, and many other little things. The GX8, as you know, is the successor of the GX7, but it's not just a minor upgrade. Panasonic introduced a lot of new things. First of all, the ergonomics. The GX8 is quite bigger and heavier than the original GX7. I'm not sure yet if I like this upgrade with the design. I must say that it's comfortable to use, but I always found the original GX7 a very nice camera because it was very small, but yet the ergonomics was really good, probably among one of the best among mirrorless cameras. The GX8 is bigger, has a better grip, I have to say that, but obviously they change it and they make it less small but more functional. The dials are very well made. They introduced a new exposure compensation dial here under the mode dial. There is the shutter speed and aperture dial on top here. And overall, as far as ease of use is concerned, there's a lot of function buttons, a lot of customization available. You have a rotating and flipping screen, as usual, with great touchscreen functionalities. And I mean, overall, as every other Lumix camera, it's a very straightforward, very easy camera to use. So that's of course a positive point. The body is weather resistant, is actually splash and dust resistant, and actually it's raining right now. I'm not sure you can see it on the video there, but there's a few raindrops here, but of course I'm not worrying at all about the camera. Probably one of the features I like the most about the GX8 and what I really loved about the GX7 is this tilting EVF here. Some people say that it's not really necessary. I actually find it really nice because you can basically shoot like this, and I find it really comfortable to use. But if you don't need it, you just put it back here and you just use it as a regular rangefinder EVF. The EVF also has more resolution, is larger. Even for someone like me that has glasses, I find it really comfortable. That's a nice improvement over the GX7 as well. So let's talk about image quality. So there's a new sensor, 20 megapixel sensor. It's the first Micro Four Thirds camera to have a 20 megapixel sensor. So it's a nice upgrade from the previous 16 megapixel sensor that we've seen in almost every Micro Four Thirds camera since 2 or 3 years. However, don't expect a huge improvement when it comes to image quality. There's slightly more details, but I haven't seen any relevant improvement in dynamic range or high ISO. The performance are really nice. I mean, it's usable up to 3200, even 6400 ISO. It's a good dynamic range, as you can expect for the most recent Micro Four Thirds cameras. But again, it's a nice improvement. It's nice to see a new sensor on a Micro Four Thirds camera, but the difference is not that big in my opinion, at least after the first hours of use. The camera also has a new stabilization system. If you remember, the GX7 was the first Lumix camera to have sensor stabilization, but it was only 2 axes, and if you had one of the Lumix lens with optical stabilization, you could either use the sensor stabilization or the optical stabilization, but not the two together. With the GX8, there is this new mode called dual stabilization, and basically the camera uses both the sensor stabilization and the optical stabilization. You have to make sure to upgrade the firmware of your Lumix lens in order to make it work, and it will show you the dual symbol on the screen. And then the camera basically uses 2 axes with the sensor and 2 axes with the optical stabilization. I managed to try with the 1245 f2.8, which is the lens I have right now here on the camera, and I would say around 1/5 of a second you can get very nice and sharp results. It's not as good as, let's say, the 5-axis stabilization on the Olympus OMD cameras, but I can see it as a good improvement from the previous GX7. Unfortunately, the dual stabilization won't work for video. If you're in video mode shooting 4K or Full HD, the camera will only use the optical stabilization, so that's also another limit of this camera in comparison to the Olympus cameras. Of course, you can shoot video, you can shoot 4K. 4K is up to 25 frames per second, Full HD is up to 50 or 60 frames per second if you are in PAL or NTSC mode. You don't have all the options the GH4 has, so you don't get the all-intra codec, you don't get the MOV file option, but as many other Lumix cameras, this is a very good camera for video as well. You also have the 4K burst option, which is something that Panasonic introduced with the G7, and basically it's an extension of the 4K photo mode, so you can shoot a burst of 30 frames per second. It actually, the camera is shooting a 4K video at 30 frames per second, and then you can manually select one frame and save it as an 80 megapixel JPEG. It's very straightforward to use, it's very nice to use, and it also shows how fast the software and the process of this camera is. Basically everything is very reactive. There is no time lag about almost anything. The autofocus is also really nice, both for stills and videos. I managed to record some macro shots, for example of a bee, and was in continuous autofocus in 4K video, and the camera was really fast in tracking a moving object, even if it was very close to the lens. And overall, even in low light, I mean, this camera is a very good camera for the autofocus, and once again shows that Panasonic cameras are among the best when it comes to the autofocus system. It has the same DFD, depth from defocus technology, that was introduced in GH4 and that also the G7 has. It's a very nice camera, a nice improvement from the GX7. Again, it's a larger body, it's a heavier body, so you lose the great form factor that the GX7 has. But certainly for someone that wants to shoot with this camera all day, and also for professional photographers, it can be a very nice option. So that's it for this quick hands-on video about the Panasonic GX8. As usual, if you have any question, you can leave a comment on this very YouTube video. You can also leave a comment on our article about the GX8 on mirrorlesson.com. And thank you for watching, and see you soon. Bye-bye.